The rain hammered the windows of our Brooklyn walk-up like fists demanding entry. But inside, the storm was worse. I found the journal tucked under the loose floorboard in Dylan's study, its leather cover cracked like old skin, the words inside carving deeper than any knife. I lost him on that summer night in the Hamptons, the one where the waves whispered promises we couldn't keep. My hands shook as I read on, realizing the hymn wasn't some ghost from his past. It was me, the man he'd vowed forever to, reduced to a forgotten echo in his own love story. Dylan's handwriting looped across the pages like veins pulsing with regret. Each entry a confession I'd never asked for but now couldn't unsee. We'd been married 5 years. Our rings simple gold bands etched with the coordinates of the Montauk Lighthouse where we'd said, "I do," under a sky bruised purple by dusk. But that night, as thunder rattled the fire escape outside, I sat cross-legged on the cold hardwood, the journal open in my lap, and wondered how we'd drifted so far that he could write about losing me without ever saying my name. I first met Dylan on a sticky July evening in 2016, at a rooftop bar in Williamsburg that smelled of craft IPAs and desperation. New York was in full throttle that summer. Construction cranes piercing the skyline like accusatory fingers. The subway a sardine can of sweat and side-eye. I was 28, fresh off a breakup that left me hollowed out, nursing a gin and tonic while pretending to scroll through my phone. He was across the rooftop, leaning against the railing, his profile sharp against the glittering East River, cigarette smoke curling up like a question mark. Our eyes locked when he turned, and it wasn't some rom-com spark. It was collision. He had that effortless American cool, faded Levi's hugging his hips, a white tee stretched just right over shoulders honed from weekend hikes upstate, dark hair falling boyish over his forehead. "You look like you're plotting a heist," he said, sliding onto the stool next to me. His voice low and gravelly, laced with that Midwestern twang he'd never fully shaken from his Ohio roots. I laughed, sharper than I meant to, just evading small talk. "Austin, by the way." We talked for hours about the indie band headlining below, how he'd ditched a soul-sucking ad job for freelance graphic design, the way the city chewed you up and spat you out if you let it. He confessed he'd come out at 22, after a family Thanksgiving implosion that scattered his siblings like shrapnel. "Dad called me a phase," Dylan said, eyes distant. "Mom baked pies for a month straight. Like sugar could fix it." I shared my own scars. The high school jock who'd pinned me against lockers with fists instead of kisses. The parade of grinder ghosts that taught me love was a swipe left away. By midnight, the bar had emptied, and we were the last two standing, sharing a stolen kiss under the string lights that tasted like lime and possibility. "Don't ghost me," I whispered against his lips. He grinned, that lopsided smile that would become my undoing. "Austin, I've been waiting for you my whole life. No vanishing ex." We tumbled into my cramped Bushwick apartment, bodies urgent and unpracticed, the fan whirring overhead like a conspirator. It wasn't just sex. It was reclamation. His hands mapped my skin like he was memorizing a city he'd always dreamed of. And when he whispered my name like a prayer, I believed in us. The next morning, over burnt toast and black coffee, he sketched me on a napkin. A cartoonish Austin with exaggerated eyes and a speech bubble saying "world's okayest lover." I kept it in my wallet for years. That summer blurred into a montage of us. Stolen weekends in the Catskills, where we'd hike to waterfalls and fuck in the moss like we were inventing intimacy. Lazy Sundays at the Brooklyn Flea, haggling over vintage records while our fingers intertwined under the table. His head in my lap on the F train, reading Kerouac aloud as the tunnel lights strobed our faces. Dylan was the artist, always chasing the next canvas, but I grounded him, 30 going on steady, a project manager at a nonprofit fighting for queer youth housing. "You're my anchor," he'd say, kissing the freckles on my nose. "The one who keeps me from floating off to LA or wherever the fuck inspiration calls." But cracks formed early, subtle as hairline fractures in glass. His freelance gigs dried up after a client stiffed him on a logo redesign, and the rejection emails piled up like unpaid bills. I'd come home to find him staring at his laptop, jaw clenched, the room thick with unspoken failure. "It's nothing," he'd mutter, pulling me close. But I'd feel it. The way his touch lingered a beat too long, like he was holding on for dear life. One night in August, after a particularly brutal pitch meeting where he was ghosted mid-presentation, we fought. It started over dinner. Take-out Thai from the spot on Bedford that always got our order wrong. "You can't just wing it forever, Dylan," I said, frustration bubbling over my pad CW. "We need stability, health insurance, a plan." His fork clattered against the plate. "Not everything's a goddamn spreadsheet, Austin. Some of us create, not manage." The words hung there venomous. He stormed out, slamming the door so hard the neighbor's wind chimes jangled in protest. I waited up till 3 a.m., heart in my throat, imagining him in some dive bar picking up a stranger to spite me. When he slunk back at dawn, reeking of whiskey and regret, he collapsed into my arms. "I'm sorry. I'm scared shitless. What if I'm not enough?" We made love on the living room rug, slow and forgiving, his tears mixing with mine. "You're everything," I promised. But in the quiet after, as his breathing evened out, I wondered if fear was the third wheel we'd invited without realizing. Fall arrived with its crisp betrayal, leaves turning gold before they fell. Dylan's luck shifted. A gallery in Chelsea bit on his digital collages, gritty urban portraits that captured the raw pulse of queer New York. Opening night was electric. Champagne flutes clinking, collectors in tailored suits murmuring approval, Dylan in a thrift store blazer looking like a rock star. I stood in the corner, beaming, my hand possessive on the small of his back. "To us?" he toasted me later, in the alley behind the gallery, our breaths fogging the brick wall as we kissed. But success whispered temptations. A curator from LA slid him her card, cooing about biennials and big breaks. "Just networking," he assured me over late-night FaceTime when she whisked him to a panel in Silver Lake. I nodded, ignoring the knot in my gut, telling myself jealousy was a relic of my exes. Still, the calls stretched longer, his laughs freer, and when he returned with a tan and stories of palm trees, something in his eyes had shifted, like he'd glimpsed a horizon without me in it. By winter, we were engaged. He proposed on New Year's Eve atop the high bridge, fireworks exploding over the Harlem River like defiant stars. Down on one knee in the snow, ring glinting under sodium lights, he said, "Austin, you're the plot twist I never saw coming. Marry me?" I said yes through chattering teeth, and we laughed till we cried, sealing it with a kiss that tasted of hot cider and home. Wedding planning was a whirlwind of vendor emails and seating charts, but it bonded us deeper. My sister flew in from Seattle, teasing Dylan about his metrosexual bowtie choices. His brother, the reluctant ally from Ohio, showed up with a six-pack and a gruff, "Congrats, man." We opted for Montauk over Vegas glitz, a cliffside ceremony with just 20 guests, the ocean roaring approval as we exchanged vows. "In sickness and in health, in inspiration and in drought," Dylan murmured, his voice cracking. I squeezed his hand. "Till the city crumbles." Honeymoon in Provincetown was bliss. Bike rides along the dunes, lobster rolls at Mac's, nights tangled in flannel sheets with the Cape's salt wind sneaking through the cracks. "This is it," he said one dawn, tracing my collarbone as the sun bled pink over the bay. "Our forever starts here." I believed him, because love like ours felt bulletproof, forged in the fire of shared scars, tempered by the grind of Brooklyn rents. But back in the city, reality gnawed. My nonprofit hit funding cliffs, layoffs looming like storm clouds. Dylan's gallery show sold out, but the advance barely covered our coned bill. We argued over budgets in whispers, makeup sex a temporary truce. Still, we built rituals. Friday farmers market runs for heirloom tomatoes, movie nights with popcorn fights, his sketches of me evolving from napkin doodles to framed oils on our walls. Then came the journal. Not right away, it started as scribbles on Post-its, fragments he'd crumple and toss. I'd find them in the trash. The boy with ocean eyes, gone like tide. I'd tease him about his emo poetry phase, but he'd flush, changing the subject. One evening, after a double shift where I mediated a donor meltdown, I came home to find him at the kitchen table, pen flying across pages, face etched with a pain I didn't recognize. "What's wrong?" I asked, dropping my bag. He slammed the journal shut. "Just venting. Rough day." I let it go, pouring wine instead, but the seed was planted, doubt, that insidious American export, cheap as dollar store candy. As spring thawed the East River, Dylan's commissions poured in. A queer mag wanted a cover series. A startup pitched murals for their Soho loft. He bloomed, staying out late for inspo walks that turned into dawn returns. "The city's alive at night," he'd say, collapsing beside me, cologne mingling with unfamiliar scents. I swallowed questions buried in work, securing grants for kids aging out of foster care, many queer like us, invisible in the system. One humid June night, the fight that cracked us open erupted. He'd missed our anniversary dinner again, for a last-minute collab with that LA curator, now a close friend named Riley. I sat alone at our favorite Italian spot in Cobble Hill, candle wax pooling like tears, the tiramisu untouched. When he texted, "Stuck. Love you," I paid and walked home in the drizzle, rage simmering. He found me on the fire escape, chain-smoking Camels I kept for emergencies. "Babe, I'm sorry." "Save it, Dylan." "Who's Riley, really?" The words flew out, laced with accusations I'd bottled for months. His face crumpled. "Just work. You're being paranoid." "Paranoia?" I laughed bitterly. "Or maybe I'm seeing what you won't admit, that this marriage is your backup plan to the life you crave out west." He recoiled like I'd slapped him. "That's not fair. You think I don't love you. I think you love the idea of us more than the mess of us." Silence stretched, broken only by distant sirens. He turned, voice hollow. "Maybe you're right." He left for the couch that night, and I cried myself raw, wondering if vows were just pretty lies we told under pretty skies. The next morning, truce over coffee. Black, no sugar, he pulled me into his lap. I panicked. "Riley's nothing. You're my world." We spent the day in bed, reaffirming with touches that bordered on desperate. But the journal stayed hidden, its secrets festering like an untreated wound. Summer rolled in again, 3 years into marriage, and with it, Dylan's big break. A solo exhibit at MoMA PS1, Echoes of the Lost, abstract pieces evoking fractured hearts. Critics raved. Dylan Hargrove captures the queer diaspora with visceral tenderness. Opening night, I wore the suit from our wedding, beaming as he worked the room. But amid the schmoozers, Riley appeared, tall, blonde, all California glow, her hand lingering on his arm. I nursed a scotch in the shadows, jealousy a live wire. Later, in the cab home, I confronted him. "She's into you." He sighed, head against the window. "It's professional, Austin. Let it go." But I couldn't. That night, alone while he crashed early, I searched his study, the floorboard loose, the journal waiting like a siren's call. The pages sucked me in like quicksand. Each entry dated back to our early days, but twisted through a lens of loss I didn't recognize. He was the light in the Hamptons haze, salt on my skin, gone before the tide turned. Dylan had written in July 2017, months after our first beach getaway. My heart stuttered. We'd driven out there spontaneously, rented a sagging cottage, spent days body surfing and nights on the porch swing. His fingers strumming my thigh like guitar strings. How could that be loss? Unless... No, I shoved the thought down, flipping forward. The entries escalated, a spiral of what-ifs and ghosts. I see him in every stranger's smile, but he's slipped away, chasing stability while I chase stars. Stability, me, the planner, the one who tallied our 401k like it was poetry. It stung, but I read on, breath shallow, the apartment's AC humming a dirge. By 2 a.m., I devoured half the journal, tears blurring the ink. Dylan wrote of the one who got away. A lover from his pre-New York days, some college fling in Ohio named Jasper. Tall, brooding, the first man who'd made him feel seen. Jasper was wildfire. I was the ash left behind. One line gutted me, but woven through it was us. Austin grounds me, but roots can strangle dreams. Was I the consolation prize? The safe harbor after the storm? My chest tightened, betrayal blooming hot and ugly. We'd built a life, joint leases, shared Netflix queues, the tattoo on his ribcage mirroring mine, coordinates of that Montauk cliff. Yet here, in his private confessions, I was the anchor dragging him down. I slammed the journal shut, storming to the bedroom where he slept oblivious, chest rising steady. Part of me wanted to shake him awake, demand answers. The other, to slip away before he could hurt me more. Dawn crept in gray and unforgiving, the city awakening with honks and garbage trucks. Dylan stirred, mumbling my name in sleep, love or habit. I feigned rest, eyes burning, until he kissed my shoulder. Morning, handsome. Coffee? His normalcy was a knife twist. Over mugs at the Formica counter, he chattered about the exhibit's reviews. The Times called it a queer odyssey. While I nodded, words lodged like thorns. Work dragged. I mediated a budget meeting on autopilot, my mind replaying lines. Losing him taught me love's a thief in the night. Lunch was a salad I poked at, texting my best friend Marco. Found Dylan's journal. It's about losing true love. Thinks it's some ex, but it's laced with us. Marco, ever the therapist in training, replied, talk to him, Ausbottling's poison. Easy for him to say, holed up in his WeHo palace with a boyfriend who wrote sonnets, not elegies. Evening found me home early, journal burning a hole in my bag. Dylan breezed in late, takeout bag swinging, that boyish grin flashing. Sushi peace offering? I know I flaked on drinks last week. We ate cross-legged on the rug, some Netflix rom-com droning, but tension hummed beneath. Halfway through a California roll, I couldn't hold it. Dylan, what's in the floorboard? His chopsticks froze midair. Color drained from his face. What floorboard? Lie blatant as neon. I pulled the journal from behind the couch cushion, holding it like evidence in court. His eyes widened, then shuddered. That's private, Austin. My head dump. Not for you. Not for me? It's about me. Voice cracking, I thrusted at him. Or us, or whatever the fuck this is. Losing him in the Hamptons? That was our trip, Dylan. Our start. He snatched it, fingers trembling, but didn't open it. It's not what you think. Jasper, my ex from college, he haunts me sometimes. The journal's therapy, sorting ghosts. Jasper. The name landed like a punch. I'd known about him in abstracts, Dylan's wild phase. The guy who'd bailed when things got real. But here, resurrected as true love? Tell me, I demanded, standing, the room shrinking. Was I plan B? The guy who showed up after he wrecked you. Tears hot on my cheeks now, unbidden. Dylan rose too, journal clutched like a shield. God no. Jasper was chaos. Fucked me up. Left me doubting everything. You're the healing. But yeah, sometimes I wonder what if he'd stayed. What if I hadn't run to New York chasing shadows? Wonder. The word eviscerated. So our life's a what if? 5 years, vows, this apartment. It's all because you couldn't let go. My voice rose, echoing off the exposed brick. He stepped closer, hand outstretched. Austin, stop. I love you. Marrying you was the best choice. The journal's just insecurity. Art brain. But I backed away, walls closing. Insecurity? You wrote I strangle your dreams. That's not love. That's resentment. The fight spiraled, him pleading, me hurling barbs about Riley, the late nights, his wandering eyes at parties. You're half in, Dylan. Always 1 foot out the door for the next big thing, the next ghost. He flinched, journal dropping to the floor, pages splaying like spilled guts. Maybe I am scared. Success feels like it'll swallow us. What if I become someone you don't recognize? Vulnerability cracked his armor, but anger armored mine. Then go. Be that someone. Without dragging me through your mourning period. I grabbed my keys, storming into the night. Brooklyn streets slick with recent rain, sodium lamps pooling gold. I walked aimlessly. Past the bodega where we'd bought our first wedding champagne, under the BQE overpass where we danced drunk after PS1. My phone buzzed. Come home, please. I silenced it, ducking into a dive bar on Lorimer, ordering whiskey neat. The jukebox crooned Springsteen, Thunder Road, and I toasted absent lovers, tears mixing with the burn. Marco picked up on the first ring. Crash at mine, he offered, voice steady. I Ubered to his Astoria spot, collapsing on his futon as the story poured out. He's not over Jasper, I sobbed. And maybe I was never enough. Marco hugged me fierce. Bullshit. You're the guy who turned his chaos into home. But love's not a solo project. He's gotta meet you halfway. Morning brought a hangover and resolve. I texted Dylan. Need space. Staying with Marco. His reply, I get it. Journal's yours if it helps. I love you. Fix this. I didn't respond. Diving into work. Pitching a youth shelter expansion to funders. Channeling hurt into hustle. Days blurred. Client calls. Gym sessions to sweat out the ache. Evenings with Marco dissecting Dylan's patterns. Classic artist avoidance, Marco said over tacos. Fears commitment's a cage. A week in, Riley emailed Sisanjimi the bitch, inviting Dylan to a LA residency. Solo opportunity. It read, subtext screaming temptation. I forwarded it to him. You're out? Take it. His call came immediate. Austin, it's nothing. I'm not going. Voice raw, pleading. Read the journal, all of it. Then decide. I did. That night in Marco's dim living room, lamp casting long shadows. The later entries shifted. Austin's patience is my mirror, showing the man I want to be. But fear whispers I'm unworthy. Then, post our anniversary fight, pushed him away tonight. If I lose Austin, I've lost myself. Jasper faded. A specter diminished. I emerged, flawed but central. He's the true love I almost sabotaged, forgetting the vows inked on our souls. Tears anew, but cathartic. I called Dylan at 4 a.m. We talk. For real. No hiding. His relief flooded the line. Park slope stoop, sunrise? We met as the city stirred. Dog walkers, joggers, the distant rumble of the G-train. He looked wrecked, stubble shadowing his jaw, eyes red-rimmed. No journal, just us, raw. I was wrong, he started, voice thick. Jasper was a spark. You're the fire, the writing. It's my fear talking, not truth. I nodded, throat tight. It hurt, Dylan. Feeling like you're also ran. He took my hands, cold against his warmth. You're the lead always. The exhibit? It's us. Echoes of what we've built, what I almost lost. We sat there as the sun crested, talking fractures. His imposter syndrome from Ohio's conservative chokehold, my control freak tendencies from unstable folks. Therapy, I suggested. He agreed, squeezing my fingers. Together. And the journal? Burn it. We did. That evening in our building's courtyard fire pit. Flames devouring pages as neighbors clinked wine glasses oblivious. Smoke curled skyward, acrid and freeing. To new stories, Dylan toasted, pulling me close. Our kiss tasted of ash and renewal, the city lights winking approval. But peace was tentative, a tightrope over old chasms. Dylan's LA offer loomed. He declined it publicly on Insta. Caption, homes where the heart sketches. I beamed, but doubt lingered like aftertaste. Work intensified. My nonprofit landed a city grant, but board politics soured it. Whispers of unreliable leadership. Dylan rallied me with midnight pep talks, his arms my fortress. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting Prospect Park where we'd picnicked post-engagement. One crisp October afternoon, strolling hand in hand, he stopped under a ginkgo canopy. I've been thinking, kids? Not now, but someday. Surrogacy, adoption, build a family. My heart swelled. We'd skirted the topic, both gun-shy from fractured upbringings. Yeah, I whispered. With you? Hell yes. Thanksgiving brought his family. Mom's pumpkin pie a peace offering, Dad's awkward pat on my back progress. Over turkey, Dylan announced the residency decline. Staying put, New York's our canvas. Relief washed the table. His brother clapped him on the back. Proud of you, bro. For once. But winter whispered warnings. Dylan's next project stalled. A graphic novel on queer resilience, pages blank despite deadlines. Block, he grumbled, pacing. I'd find him staring out windows, that distant look returning. One blizzard night, snow blanketing Brooklyn in hush, he vanished after dinner. Walk to Clear Head, text read. Hours passed. Panic clawed. I tracked his phone to the Brooklyn Bridge, wind howling. There he was, midway across, journal, new one, in hand, scribbling by lantern light. Dylan! I yelled over gusts. He startled, pages whipping. Couldn't sleep. Needed air. We huddled against the railing. City sprawled, glittering below. What's eating you? Depressed. He sighed, snowflakes melting on lashes. The book's stuck. Feels like I'm failing us again. I cupped his face. You're not. We're in this. But as we walked home, arm in arm, I glimpsed an entry fluttering loose. The pull west grows. What if Austin's chains are mercy? My stomach dropped. Another journal? Or same poison, repackaged? The loose page haunted me, tucked in my pocket like contraband. Its words a splinter under skin. We thawed in bed that night, bodies seeking warmth amid the drafty windows. But my mind raced. Dylan's breathing evened into sleep, while I lay awake, streetlights striping the ceiling like bars. Was this cycle endless? His art birthing demons that clawed at our seams? By morning, resolve hardened. Confrontation round 2, but surgical this time. No accusations, just truth serum. He woke to me brewing espresso, the good beans from that Italian market in Carroll Gardens. Smells like forgiveness, he murmured, nuzzling my neck. I handed him the page over foam art. Found this last night. Talk. His face fell, mug clattering. Shit, it's rough draft stream of consciousness. We sat at the table, knees touching, the radiator clanging like a metronome. The West thing, this fantasy, Austin. LA's shiny, but empty, like Jasper. Flash without fire. I searched his eyes, hazel flecked with gold, for lies. Then why write it? Why let it fester? He rubbed temples, stubble rasping. Because I'm a coward. Success scares me more than failure. What if I chase it and lose you? The book's about that, resilience through fracture. Vulnerability again, his Achilles. I softened, tracing his knuckles. Write me in, then. Not as chain, but co-pilot. He nodded. Fierce. Promise. No more secrets. We burned that page too. In a coffee can on the stove. Flames dancing blue. Phoenix from ashes, he quipped, kissing my singed fingertips. Therapy started that week. Queer-affirming counselor in the village. A no-nonsense dyke named Lena with tattoos snaking up her arms. Sessions were brutal. Dylan's buried rage at his dad's silence post-coming out. My hypervigilance from foster stints as a kid. You're both survivors, Lena said. But survival mode kills intimacy. Homework. Weekly check-ins, no journals without sharing. Spring 2024 bloomed tentative. Cherry blossoms dusting the high line like confetti. Dylan's novel progressed. Sketches of us woven in. A panel of Montauk vows. Another of Brooklyn fights resolving in dawn embraces. My nonprofit stabilized. A new director ally quashing the whispers. We celebrated with a weekend in the Hamptons. Same cottage from years back. Now ours via Airbnb splurge. Waves crashed as we walked the beach. Barefoot, jeans rolled. Remember our first time here? I asked, salt wind whipping. He grinned, slinging an arm around me. How could I forget? You in that ridiculous Speedo. Laughter bubbled, easing old scars. That night, bonfire crackling, he pulled out a sketchpad, not journal, progress. For the book. You, me, against the tide. The drawing. Intertwined figures, resilient, waves parting around them. I teared up. It's us, truly. Back in Brooklyn, harmony hummed. Summer barbecues on the roof with Marco and his crew. Dylan's readings at queer lit fests where he'd dedicate pieces to my muse, my husband. Intimacy reignited. Lazy mornings with his mouth on me. Afternoons tangled on the couch. Evenings where words flowed freer than bodies. I see it now. He confessed one starry night on our stoop. You were the true love all along. Jasper was rehearsal. Relief flooded, but life, that American hustler, had other plans. Fall brought Dylan's book deal, mid-five figures from a progressive press. Launch party at a loft in Dumbo. Critics buzzed pre-pub. Hargrove's graphic novel is a love letter to queer endurance. But Riley resurfaced, email chain CC'd again. Collab on a West Coast tour. Dylan showed me immediately. Your call? I said, heart testing. He deleted it. Nah. Our story's East Coast gritty. Yet doubts echo lingered. During a work trip to D.C., pitching funders for shelter expansions, I got the call. Dylan. Voice wrecked. Intruders in the apartment. Police say it's Jasper. My blood iced. Flight home was blur. Capitol crumbling below. Cops milled our stoop when I arrived. Dylan wrapped in a blanket. Eyes hollow. He broke in through the fire escape. Found the old journal in the trash. Thought I was hiding something. Jasper. Gaunt. Wild-eyed. Ohio pallor clashing with Brooklyn grime. He'd tracked Dylan via socials. Convinced the exhibit was their story. He ranted about stolen love, cop said, cuffing him. Dylan retched into a trash bin post statement. I thought he was ancient history. I held him as he shook. He's not you. Never was. The break-in shattered our bubble. Nightmares plagued Dylan. Jasper's shadow in corners. Whispers of unworthiness. Therapy ramped up. Lena prescribed EMDR for trauma triggers. I took leave, fortifying our space. New locks, alarm system, a fierce guard dog named Scout from the shelter. Slowly, he rebuilt. Book edits flying, panels where he'd share raw, earning standing ovations. But fracture lines spidered. One December Eve, post-book deadline, he cracked. What if I'm broken goods, Austin? Jasper proved it. My past chasing us. We were in the study, tree lights twinkling from the living room. I knelt before him. Broken? Nah. Bent maybe. But we're mosaic. Sex that night was salvation. Slow, sacred, reclaiming space. New Year 2025 dawned hopeful. Dylan's launch was magic. Dumbo loft packed. Queer icons toasting. His speech choking me up. This is for the loves we lose and the ones we fight for. Austin, you're my plot armor. We danced to indie electronica. Bodies sinking like old times. Future tangible. Spring whispered permanence, a surrogacy consult, profiles of fierce queer families. Our kid, Dylan mused over brunch mimosas. Will know love's not perfect, but it's persistent. I grinned. Like us. Yet summer storms brewed. Dylan's book hit bestseller lists, interview requests flooding. One from a Cali podcaster, Riley's network. He hesitated. One call. Closure. I nodded warily. With me on speaker. The interview veered personal. Your work screams lost love. Who's the muse? Dylan. My husband. The one who stayed. But post-call, he withdrew. Late nights, polishing. Coffee breath at dawn. I found sketches. Abstract fractures. A figure dissolving into waves. Inspo, he claimed. Doubt gnawed anew. Marco warned over beers. Tours coming. Distance tests. Indeed, fall tour loomed, New York to SF, 10 cities. First stop, Chicago. He FaceTimed daily, gushing crowds, but eyes shadowed. Miss you. Home soon. Then week 2 silence. Text. Phone died. LA next. Panic flickered. I dove into work, shelter groundbreaking, kids' faces lighting as they toured. Distraction, thin veil. LA night, he called at 2 a.m. my time. Slurred. Riley's party. Too much tequila. Pick me up. Metaphor but gutted. Dylan, what's happening? Static. Then, I saw Jasper's type everywhere. Freaked. He boarded red-eye next morn. Landing haggard at JFK. Cab ride home. It was nothing. Jet lag hallucination. But the journal, new, pristine, sat on his desk. I resisted till he showered. Entries fresh. LA's pull is gravity. Austin feels light years. Did I marry my mirror or my cage? Betrayal sharp as glass. I confronted him towel-clad in the hall. Again? After everything. He blanched. Rough drafts. Tour pressure. Pressure? Or temptation? Voices rose, Scout whining from the crate. You think I'd cheat? After Jasper, after us. Dylan roared. Maybe you don't trust me because you don't trust love. Storm broke. He packed a bag. Space like you gave me. Door slammed. I slid down it, sobbing. Days blurred. Work autopilot. Marco's couch. Lena solo. Boundaries, not walls. Week 3, his text, Portland. Miss you. Read this. Attachment. Final book pages. Epilogue. I opened it, heart hammering. Illustrations of fractures mending. Text. True love isn't the blaze that consumes. It's the steady burn that warms through winters. I lost myself chasing phantoms. Forgetting the man beside me was the light. Austin. My true north, my home. Tears blurred panels. Call. I'm coming back. End tour early. Portland Airport reunion. Him rumpled. Me teary. Embrace crushing. No more ghosts, he vowed. Just us. Reunion's glow faded fast. Tour residuals lingered like jet fuel in veins. Dylan returned wired, crashing into manic productivity. Sequel sketches, podcast pitches, a mural commission for the shelter. Redemption arc. He joked over takeout falafel, but shadows under his eyes betrayed. I matched his energy, our rhythm sinking tentative. Morning runs along the promenade, evenings where he'd read drafts aloud, my feedback sharpening his edge. Yet fractures echoed. One sticky August afternoon, Scout bounding ahead in McCarran Park, he dropped the bomb. LA offered a studio residency. 6 months. Paid. We paused under a willow dog-leash taut. My stomach nodded. And, he scuffed dirt. Tempting. But no, unless we go together. Together. The word dangled, seductive poison. My job rooted here, shelter expansions, kids relying on routines I'd built. What about us? The life. Voice steady, but pulse thrummed. He cupped my face, earnest. That's why together. Or not at all. We tabled it, kissing under dappled shade, but seed planted. Uproot or wither. Fall harvest brought bounty. Dylan's book won a Lambda literary nod. Ceremony at a swanky hotel in Midtown. Suits starched. We walked the red carpet hand in hand. Flashes popping like fireworks. His acceptance. To the loves that endure, the ones we fight for, the ones that fight for us. Applause thundered. Backstage, Riley cornered him, air kiss lingering. I intercepted, arm possessive. Congrats, Dylan. LA still calls. Her smile shark. Always. He shut it down. I'm answered here. Post-party high crashed into reality. Surrogacy agency matched us. A carrier named Elena, warm Midwestern transplant with a laugh like wind chimes. Consults were whirlwind. Profiles, contracts, dreams sketched in ultrasounds yet to be. Our kid'll have your eyes, Dylan murmured during a rainy cab ride home, hand on my thigh. And your stubborn streak. Laughter, light, but undercurrent. Residency deadline loomed, November 1st. October's chill sharpened decisions. We debated over cider at a Bushwick Orchard pop-up. Pros. LA Sun, new networks for his art. Cons. My uprooting, Scout's chaos. 6 months, he pressed. Trial run. If it sucks, we're back. I hedged. And if it fits, do I become the trailing spouse? Hurt flashed in his eyes. Partner, Austin. Equals. Lena mediated. Compromise or resent? We landed middle. 3 months. Me remote halftime. Shelter board greenlighting. Packing was purgatory. Boxes labeled temporary. But finality loomed. Last Brooklyn night. Dinner at our Italian spot. Tiramisu shared. To reinvention, he toasted. I clinked, throat tight. To us. LAX arrival was culture shock. Palm trees mocking our grit, air thick with ambition. Riley's firm hooked Dylan a sublet in Silver Lake. Modernist perch with views of the Hollywood sign. Pool glinting like temptation. I crashed first week, job calls crackling over Wi-Fi, but city seduced. Hikes in Griffith, tacos at truck stops, Dylan's eyes alight at gallery crawls. This could be home, he said one sunset, sprawled on our balcony, wineglass dangling. But homesickness bit. Shelter updates felt distant, kids' emails, miss Mr. Austen's stories. Scout paced, whining at coyote howls. Dylan's residency immersed him. Critiques with A-listers, murals blooming on warehouse walls. Late nights, he'd return buzzing, sketches spilling. It's electric here. I nodded, masking the gnaw. Was I fading into backdrop? Thanksgiving. Elena's video call, turkey pixelated. All good, she beamed. We faked it, Dylan's arm around me for the lens. Post-call, he deflated. Missed the chaos. Ohio pies, your sister's sass. Vulnerability bridged us. Sex urgent. Reclaiming in the king bed that dwarfed our queen. December holidays. Fly home for Christmas. Snow dusting JFK relief. Family mash. My folks Seattle chill, his Ohio awkward cheer. LA treating you? Mom asked, knitting needles clicking. Dylan, it's a chapter, not the book. Back west, New Year's Eve poolside bash. Riley toasting fresh starts. Her hand on his elbow. I pulled him to dance, bodies grinding to EDM, staking claim. Residency midpoint, cracks widened. Dylan's solo show announcement. Echo gallery, queer icons only. Prep consumed him. Studio till 3 a.m. My sleep fractured by his returns. One dawn fight. You're vanishing again. I accused, coffee scalding. He snapped. This is work, not escape. Feels like both. Who's the muse now, me or the spotlight? He stormed out, returning contrite with breakfast burritos. Sorry. Pressure cooker. Truce held, but journal temptation called. I resisted trust, Lena's mantra. Instead, surprise. Booked a weekend in Joshua Tree, stargazing to reset. Desert night, fire crackling, he opened up. LA's a mirror, shows my greed. Want it all, acclaim, you family. I traced constellations on his palm. Greed's human, just don't eclipse us. Promise exchanged, meteor shower raining wishes. January thawed tensions. Show opening. Gallery packed. Collectors swooning over fractured vows. Pieces of us abstracted. Resilient. Critics lauded. Hargrove's evolution. From loss to legacy. Afterparty. Riley cornered again. Brilliant. Stay west. Dylan. East pulls stronger. I exhaled, pride swelling. But Elena's news dropped. Pregnancy confirmed. Joy exploded. Calls to families. Champagne toasts. Her sparkling water. Our family, Dylan whispered. Hand on my belly like echo. Yet timing taunted. Residency end March. Elena due fall. Back to Brooklyn for birth? I proposed. He agreed, but hesitation flickered. February storm. Literal. Rains lashing LA into gridlock. Dylan missed a mural deadline. Blame spiraling. This city's curse, he raged, pacing our perch. I soothed. It's you, perfectionist trap. That night, he confessed. Found Jasper's letter in old mail. Apology tour bullshit. Stirred shit. Jasper. Ghost risen. Burn it, I said. He did. In the sink, flames hissing. But residue clung. Late calls from Ohio, his dad, cancer diagnosis. Stage 3, Dylan choked. Flight east immediate. I followed, shelter handing reins. Ohio winter. Sterile hospital halls, mom's casseroles, dad's frail hand in Dylan's. Proud son, he rasped, eyes wet. Coming out redux. Forgiveness late but real. Vigil nights, Dylan broke. Regrets poison. Wasted years. I held him. Now's what counts. Back LA, grief tempered him. Residency finale. Panel on queer narratives. His talk raw. Love's not linear. It's loops, losses, returns. Crowd riveted. Riley applauded, distance cool. March end, we packed boxes permanent. Unchecked. Flight home. Brooklyn below, gritty beacon. Apartment smelled stale, but scouts frenzy welcomed. Unpack. Elena check-in, heartbeat whooshing via app. Healthy, Doc said. Dylan sketched nursery murals, stars, waves. Us. Spring 2025 bloomed full. Dylan's sequel deal, my promotion to director. Park dates. Bellies swelling with plans. One eve, storm brewing. He handed a package. New journal. Cover etched our story. Inside, collaborative pages, my handwriting too. No solos, he said. Duet. I kissed him, thunder rumbling. But as rain lashed, old entry echoed loss. Forgetting. Was it truly buried? Summer swelled Elena's bump and our dreams. Ultrasounds revealing a boy. Finn whispered in hushed joys. Brooklyn pulsed alive. Fire hydrants spraying kids. Stoop beers with neighbors. Dylan's mural on the shelter wall, a beacon of bold colors and intertwined hands. Life felt scripted. The American dream queered. Picket fence illusions swapped for brownstone bonds. Nuclear family expanded to chosen kin. But ghosts, persistent as humidity, stirred. Dylan's dad worsened. Weekly calls from Ohio laced with chemo updates. He's asking about you, Austin. Dylan shared over dinner, voice strained. Says to thank you for making me whole. I squeezed his foot under table. Family's verb, not blood. Yet grief's undertow pulled. Dylan's sketches darkened. Panels of shadowed figures. August heat wave. Elena's shower at our place. Rainbow balloons bobbing. Guests toasting mocktails. Marco flew in, quipping Uncle Judy's start now. Spoil the kid rotten. Laughter flowed, but midway, Dylan vanished to the study. I found him hunched over the journal, pen scratching furious. You okay? He startled, slamming shut. Yeah, just dad stuff. Legacy fears. I let it slide, but unease coiled. Nights after, he'd wake sweating. Nightmares of abandonment. Jasper's face morphing to his own. What if I'm not father material? He'd murmur, my arms anchor. You'll be epic, I'd affirm, but doubt mirrored his. September equinox brought storm, literal and figurative. Thunder cracked as we prepped hospital bags. Elena's due date looming. Dylan's phone buzzed, LA Gallery, sequel exhibit offer. In-person install, he explained. 2 weeks, tops. Timing gut punch. Now, with Finn coming, voice-edged, he deflated. Virtual pitch? Or skip? Skip one, but resentment simmered. Always the pull, I muttered. He heard. It's work, not betrayal. Old script, new act. We cooled with a walk. Prospect Park leaves turning. Scout leashed. I choose us, he vowed. Every time. October birthed Finn amid chaos. False labor, false alarms. Then midnight rush to Methodist. Dylan White knuckled the wheel. Me texting Elena, breathe, queen. Delivery room. Her strength goddess. His tears streaming as Finn wailed entrance. Dark tuft, fists flailing. Our son, Dylan choked, cutting cord with trembling hands. I kissed them both, world narrowing to this. Love, messy incarnate. Homecoming blurred, sleep-deprived bliss. Midnight feeds, Dylan's lullabies off-key. My burp cloths at ready. Ohio flight for grandpa meet. Dad's eyes lit holding Finn. Looks like you, son, trouble. Laughter weak but real. Hospice whispers loomed, but moments gold. November grayed with loss. Dylan's dad passed quiet. Ohio funeral, a tapestry of regrets mended late. Eulogy. Dylan raw. You taught me silence hurts, but love speaks volumes. Plain home. Finn nursing, he broke in my lap. Don't leave me like that. Never. I promised, meaning marrow deep. Winter wrapped us cocooned. Holidays with Finn's first snow. Tree baubles he gummed drooly. Dylan's book tour scaled back. Virtual reads, local signings. But one eve, storm raging outside, I sought tea in the study. Journal open, unguarded, final entry, dated yesterday. Losing dad cracked me open. Saw clear. Austin's not loss, he's salvation. Forgot once, the man I married is the true love I almost let slip. Finn's proof. We build, we endure. Heart seized. Not betrayal, revelation. I closed it gentle, tears pricking. Later, bundled on couch, Finn asleep between. I confessed. Found your words. Again. He tensed. Sorry, habit. I smiled, tracing his jaw. This time? Beautiful. We're the story. He exhaled, pulling me close. Yeah. No more forgetting. Kiss deepened. Thunder applause. Rain washing slate clean. Spring 2026. Finn's first steps toward us. Shelter gala where Dylan's keynote fundraised thousands. Art heals what systems break. LA calls faded. Brooklyn rooted deep. One dawn, journal burned final. Ashes to garden. Roses blooming defiant. Years folded. Finn's laughter echoing. Dylan's exhibits family fractals. My TEDx on queer kinship. Fights came, diapers, deadlines, but resolutions quicker. Love's muscle flexed. On our 10th anniversary, Montauk Cliff Redux. Waves same, us weathered wiser. Still true? He asked, ring glinting. Truer, I replied. In the end, not by kitsch but quiet triumph, human, flawed, American as apple pie with a rainbow flag. We lost ghosts, found grace. The man he married, that love eternal.